Steve Evans, I guess it's been a good week.
Yeah, it's been a great week. You know, we've been lucky since the first day that we brought the group together and we come in for pre-season. Every week seems to have improved. Every week seems to gather more momentum, and every week certainly has more positivity in the camp. And that largely is attributed to results, but it's also attributed to almost that feeling we want the group to have when they're coming on a daily basis. So, good place, and looking forward to tomorrow.
The impressive thing from people perhaps looking from the outside is you've only got a small squad, and it's the same squad on a Saturday and a Tuesday, but obviously in different positions, and some of them on the bench and everything, but they all seem to interchange so well.
Yeah, very much so. I think we identified it, that we said, you know, we'd like 21 man squad. Our chairman agreed with that strategy, and we're trying to deliver that. But at the minute, with the loss of Elliot, we've got 18, everyone available to us. So we're well done to the fitness team, well done to the medical team and the coaching staff, because it's hard to get that percentage, 100% of what we've got now going forward. So from that point of view, we can pick 4 or 5 different formations. We can pick 5 or 6 different teams. There's been great debate yesterday and great debate this morning in the office what the team should be when we line up at the best cut tomorrow. But we'll all take our time thinking it through before dinner, and then this evening the staff will get together, the senior staff, and I'll go away and pick it.
So you're still 2 or 3 players short. Is there any movement on that?
Oh, listen, we're so close I can touch it, but you can't touch it till they've signed, because there's that many factors. Our chairman has ticked every box. Leon has ticked every box. We've ticked every box from a football perspective, because when you look at the facilities, the infrastructure, the training ground, the pitches, we've got bowling greens out there that are a pleasure to come into every morning. Fantastic ground staff who work incredibly hard to support us. But we're very close, but you're never done. It won't be in time for tomorrow, but you're never done till it's done.
Does it make it any easier for you, your current position? Because, like you say, you've got the facilities and everything else. The one thing that's been missing is the performances, and that surely helps you to attract players.
It certainly does. I think players like to have an outline of what they're going to get on a daily, weekly, and an ongoing basis. They like to know who they're going to go and play for. They like to know who's ultimately going to pick them in the team or not. They like to look at the coaching staff. Our current squad speaks for itself. We've got a lot of players that a number of clubs tried to attract in the summer, and we you can't call it luck, but we did well to recruit a lot of those players and keep the ones we did. So we're in really good shape. We have a great infrastructure. We've got great stability. You know, we're not post-COVID and going in cars like I've had to do in recent times. So we're not doing that. We're being really professional.
How have you been coping with the conditions? I mean, we're looking out there, temperatures in the high 30s forecast. Is that going to be a factor?
I think it'll always play a factor. I think the only worrying factor I've got now looking forward, unless there's more heat waves coming, is the temperature. They're telling us that's going to be inside the best cut at kick-off tomorrow, which could be 36, 37 degrees, which is not the norm. But we've trained as a norm, because we've got a great experience in it. I thought went into the evening time, we played Derby County, and it was still 33 and 34 degrees at kick-off. So we're used to it. We've kept training in it. We just reduce the time, do more inside, but we go out into the heat of the mid and late morning, because that's what we're going to play on the next few weeks. So it doesn't present us with any issues. I think we keep our players to our normal schedules, and the one thing that players like is that they like to be consistent, because away from here, Steve, a lot of them have families, they've got young kids, they perhaps sometimes drop them, or they're dropping the wife at the train station to go to work, or maybe she's dropping them here with the kids, etc. So we like to keep that they can have their with nothing in their mind that crosses what we're doing.
You talk of the best got. Michael Flynn, of course, he probably started about the same time as you did here, and probably a similar kind of result at the moment.
Yeah, Flynn, he's a good guy, and he's a real top bloke. He's a top manager. As a fellow manager and part of the League Managers Association, absolutely horrifying what I read last weekend, Sunday and Monday. I think there is no place in football for it. And the sooner these rascals, and I could say worse terms, the sooner as these rascals are hunted out of football, the better. I think they think it's open to come and abuse people that are trying to do a job. I think they opened themselves up to abusing one's family, like they did with Michael. And Flinny knows what I think. But listen, win, lose or draw, we'll share a beer tomorrow. We're going to fight 3 till 5. Yeah, we're going to fight. We're going to be both want to win, and that doesn't mean physical or verbally. It just means mentally we'll fight. And then afterwards we'll share a beer. I'd imagine both sides have got a huge respect. I certainly have towards him.
Is there a similarity there? Because you're both kind of winners, if you like. You've both managed similar kinds of clubs on a budget and both achieved.
I think 1,000,000%. It just depends. It depends levels where you manage. It depends the clubs you manage. I think when I was very honoured and proud to manage Leeds United, you didn't get that level of personal stuff that you get because you're in the Championship, and with all due respect to other leagues, the Championship is full of ex-Premier League clubs. Of course, Leeds being one of the still mapping you one of the top 6. So you get up less. I think you get down the leagues. I think it's growing more and more into society, more and more into football, and I think it's not going away. The more that people think they pay their hard, and it is hard-earned money, but you don't pay your hard-earned money to go and abuse people. So what myself and Michael have done, we've had to work hard because this is a real tough industry. There is only 72 managers outside the Premier League earning professional status in England and Wales, and you have to turn up and deliver results. And over a career, I've been very, very successful with good staff and good players and brilliant people supporting me above in the men. And
looking at you and the squad, we've seen different formations: 3 at the back, 2 at the back. 4 at the back. Is that you tinkering, or is it horses for courses?
No, I think you're right to say 2 at the back, because when we equalised last week against Stockport, we went 2 at the back to win, and my staff were looking at me, what you're doing. I'd rather try and win than not lose. I'd rather try and win. I think it either comes from within you. Yeah. I love it. I think there's many cities and towns all the way through the UK, I could say it, but I come from the biggest industrial town of its generation in Glasgow, in a real tough area. And you sometimes had to fight to get you done. I had to fight to win. So fight to win football matches should be the normal. Try and win football matches to send people home happy is the normal. It's getting tougher, but I think I've said it a couple of weeks ago and I'll repeat it. I think gone are the days where we rejoice at winning football managers and you get relieved that you're not getting abuses. You either leave the pitch or you go to the team coach.
How's the squad looking? We know it's short numbers, but fit?
Yeah, all good. All have trained yesterday. You can imagine Brighton probably haven't they? The boys have been terrific, outstanding in certain parts of performances. I think there's no doubt certainly for 45 minutes at Stockport at Tranmere was as good as it got. I think then we didn't really turn up and be at it for the first 60 minutes against Stockport, although the game was in the balance and a bit level, but I think last 25 minutes we total control. And then we made changes, as you're right to identify, and so they didn't say it at Reading, but we turned up, made changes, and again for 60 minutes we were outstanding. Some of the football and passing and moving was brilliant. So they're bouncing in, they're ready. We'll decide on we'll have already decided on the shape and a team, but we'll see how they train today, because that often endorses your view, or it takes our view away.
We've seen players, obviously, we know you're looking for players to come in. We've seen players go out, some of the youngsters. What about the likes of Arthur Reid? He was open for transfer at the end of the season and over the summer. What's the situation with him? Well,
his attitude has changed 1,000,000%. Listen, there's not a manager in the English Football League who doesn't look at Arthur Reid and think, what a technically gifted young man. What a player, what vision, what array of passing. What wonderful skills he got. But I think I just felt towards the end of last season that he wasn't with the team. It was more about him. And so we made him available. He come back in the summer. I said to our chairman, he seems to have come back a different boy. He's been fantastic. He's the one person I've said in front of the group, you're unlucky not to starting, and that was last week. I think he's been stunning. But Arthur continuing to play like that will put himself on the team, And I don't want to lose good players who've got a focused attitude, a focused approach, who want to achieve. And for us to achieve is going to be incredibly difficult. We look at the resources and the size of clubs in League Two, but our job is to certainly go through the first 10 games, and after 10 league games, is our supporters dreaming, or are they having a nightmare? And my job is to make sure that we can all dream. My job is to make sure we can all dream of, can we then force ourselves into that top group by Christmas? Can we then keep it going till March? Squeaky bum time pops up, and you'd like to think the experience kicks in. But there's a lot of wonderful clubs out there, a lot of big investments going on. I could name them all. Stockport were here last week, but you could keep going, couldn't you, with the size of clubs and what's going in. But hey, listen, we're not portraying a situation here where we don't have funds. We have a good budget. We have reasonable funds to strengthen our group. We have a very proactive chairman. In fact, he's doing my head in because he keeps ringing me and saying, are we any closer yet, Steve? Are we any closer? And isn't that wonderful from your chairman? Isn't that wonderful that our chairman takes the care and the interest to be chasing me, saying, where are we? But he knows how we work. He told me many months ago when I joined, too many stocking fillers, too many Christmas ones. I stole the quote, but he's 100% right. We live by it now. We'll strengthen the group when it's right for us to do so. And I think when we strengthen it, we're not going to talk stars here and lift heads off papers. But that dressing room will know what they're about, and that's the important factor.
I guess other people are looking at Stevenage as well, though. Any interest in any of your players?
Yeah, I would say there has been phone calls. Is anyone leaving? No.
Okay, and if Elliot List, any update on him?
Elliot's going to see the consultant on Monday. We think there'll be a little operation going behind the back of that, but I'll be in a complete position to let the supporters know probably by the back end of next week, when we've had the consultant's complete view, when he's gone inside, had a look, done what he's done, and then we'll know. But Elliot's a loss to us. We can't put it in any other way. But again, when I talk about the support of a board, 2 or 3 board members spoke to me when Elliot went down, rather innocuously, it has to be said. There's no big challenge in it at Tranmere. There's no one attributed to any blame. But it was really interesting. Within 24, 40 hours, every director led by our chairman was saying to me, let's get someone in, Steve. Let's replace the one that we've lost, although we don't know how long.
Just finally, I can't go without talking about the cup and the draw. What was your feeling when that came out?
It's quite interesting because I travel up and down the road sometimes with a goalkeeping coach, Ian Pledge, and he said to me, I've got it in my bones that we'll get posh, we'll get Peter United. And I was thinking, I don't need to see Barry or Dara anymore. As much as I respected them, both of them, I don't need to see them. I've now found a lot of friends that I had when I was a posh manager that have now come back. Listen, it's been my home city for the best part of 30 years. My wife's family are all from around that way. I love the club, but I want to put them at the cup.
And a home draw as well. You couldn't really have been better, could it?
No, it's great. Well, for me, home, it would have been near. It would have been 15 minutes from London Road. It would have been, for the A-backs, it would have been easy. But no, listen, home in the cup against a team from a higher league, a club and a team that I know inside out. I know the players inside out. Grant knows us. We're going to play each other, I think, about 4 times in the next 5 weeks. I think Grant's offered to move in, which we've said no. He's got a lovely home as it is, and a good family. But no, we have to just almost have the approach, one game at a time. We've got a real tough one at the Bescott on Saturday, real tough, and then we come back with 2 back-to-back home games. And we have a real opportunity to start the season, what I would say, in fantastic fashion. That would mean a large points haul from 3 games.